Broadcasting from the campus of Linn-Benton Community College. We are the Mid-Valley STEM-CTE hub. I'm your host, Casey, and this is Closing the Gap. Chemistry is a natural science that studies the properties and behaviors of matter. Matter is anything that has mass and volume. So chemistry is pretty much the study of, well, to put it simply, how one thing interacts with something else. I'm very proud to say that my guest today is another instructor from Linn-Benton Community College. Chemistry professor, Ommidala Pattawong. Hi, Ommidala. Thanks for joining me on the show today.
Hi, Cassie.
So when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
When I was it's interesting. I grew up in a farmer family, but I always wanted to be a scientist. I think the reason for that is because I came across with the Discovery Channel show like one day, and that just like so fascinating, everything about science in general. And I set my heart and my mind that one day I would like to become a scientist, and one day I would like to work and live in the US. So those are two of my dreams, and I think I'm living in my dream right now. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. I love hearing that. You know, you're really making it happen.
Yeah. I mean, it's just not happen within a night, right? It's come with a lot of hard work, that's for sure, and all the support of my family. Support me financially and emotionally and things like that. Yeah.
Oh, very important. Yeah, I think emotional support sometimes can be just as important as financially, or just being around someone physically is really having your back.
Definitely.
How did you get into chemistry specifically? Is there a specific discipline in chemistry that interests you?
Yeah, so this is how to go back into high school. So because I like science, and then I think during high school time, that's when I discover more of which discipline I would like to go to. And I decided to go toward chemistry because I think that it's just I don't know. I felt like it's just a fundamental that can answer every question. It's come back to atoms, building block, and from there it's come to interaction that they do and things like that. So I choose that, and eventually I won. I was selected to be in the regional chemistry Olympiad program. So I get to go to the university when I was in high school to work with the chemistry faculty on research, and also on some problems to train me to become a national chemistry Olympiad. However, I did not make it into the national part. So, but that's helped me to it just solidify that this is what I want to do. So I then won a scholarship from the Development and Promotion of Science and Technology program from the Thai government that pay for my tuition and also give me the living expense during my bachelor degree as well. So I received that. So I decided to do chemistry because that's one of the programs that they have, they have the list that I can choose. So when I was in my bachelor degree program, I choose to do polymer because it's everywhere around us. And I feel like it's very crucial that I learn, some new technology where polymer can be, for example, recycle, or we can use some different materials to make it to be biodegradable and things like that. So I choose that. And later, this might later on, I just decide to do something else, and I can tell you more about that later.
I think polymer is such an interesting way to go because it's just in everything. I was really surprised to find out that there were polymer layers in the face mask that we were wearing for COVID, the disposable ones. I had no idea because I look at it, I don't really see any plastic, but I guess it's there.
Yeah, it's everywhere. And I think that's why I was interested in. And I think my research project during my bachelor degree was I studied the speed up the reaction for the polymerization, ring opening polymerization, which is, so polymer make from like different monomer. And one of the monomer that I study is come in a ring. And in order for that to make a long chain polymer, you need to open the ring. So I study the mechanism of that, how the ring is open. And by understanding the mechanism, then you can design catalyst to make the reaction to go faster. So that way we can accomplish, like a certain polymer in a certain weight range. And that is going to determine how fast it's going to decompose and things like that, right? So if you want to decompose in nature, you can decide by knowing the mechanism of it as well. Yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting. I have to admit that I don't know much about chemistry, so I got a little bit lost with the mono is like a singular and the poly is multiple like
correct,
connections. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So monomer would be like just one single unit. When you add them all together, then it's going to become like polymer. So that's the plastic that we are using.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you said you had gotten your bachelor's degree in Thailand and then you came to Oregon to get your Ph.D., right?
Yes.
So I was wondering like what the similarities and differences are going to universities in Thailand compared to the United States. And I was also kind of wondering how you decided on OSU specifically.
Yeah. So similarities, I have to say that university in Thailand and here are definitely like teach like research based, that's for sure. Like all the new research, like professor over there, like teach us with the new research and things like that. So we not rely on like the old textbook, but they do teach like from textbook as well, but it's translated into like Thai language. So I learned everything in Thai. And the curriculum also like pretty much the same as here as well, like in terms of when I look at the undergrad program here at OSU and compared to like my undergrad program back in my country, they all like have similar curriculum. The difference is back in Thailand, the culture from where I'm from, because it's Asian culture, so you're not supposed to like argue. So there is not a lot of discussion class or where you can actually ask or raise hand, ask professor like during lecture. That's just not acceptable. Let me take it back. It's acceptable, but not many people do it. So it's kind of like weird. Like if you do it, like people would just think that you are strange, that you just like, how dare are you asking your professor, like, who are you and things like that, right? But here, it's very open. Like if you're curious, you can just raise hand and you ask question and that question get addressed right away. Or if they are not able to answer you, they will just tell you that, why don't you go research this? Or let me get back to you. I will, like, so it's just more like transparent here versus over there. It's just more like you are older than me, I'm younger, so I have to respect you and things like that. So it's just, that's kind of like not promote learning much, I would say. Yeah. And so that's what made me struggle most during my PhD program is the discussion class, like especially like anything with like argument, like if you read research article and then you come and then like critical thinking, right? Like, like do all of that. So I have to train that over 10 years, that's for sure. Like for me to be like who I am right now, because just come from like the background and my culture, this is not acceptable. So it's just like, it's a lot of like mindset that have to be changed and things like that. Yeah.
For sure.
And yeah. And why do I decide attending OSU? So that's probably have to go back to professor from OSU, like went to my country to recruit students. And I just saw the picture of Oregon and I just saw like, wow, the leaf changed in color. And I did not know that it's going to rain for 9 months. So I just signed up for it and I got accepted. So I come here. But before that, I actually got accepted to University of New South Wales in Australia. But I declined because I always want to come to the US since I was young, as I mentioned before. Yeah, it's just my dream to live here. So that's why I decided to come to OSU.
Awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, I think the fall colors are a big draw around here. It's so pretty, and then it's it's gone so fast.
Yeah, nobody tell me that it's gonna rain for 9 months.
Yeah. Oh man, surprised. Does it rain this much like over in Thailand, or is it fairly dry compared to here?
I think the difference is here is like drizzling all the time, but over there it's just like pouring rain for like 3 or 4 hours and then it stopped. And it's only like a rainy season. Yeah.
Cool.
So it's not like, like it's not like 9 months long but yeah, so it's just like a couple months.
Right on.
Monsoon season. Yeah. Have you ever been there?
No, I would love to go though. It looks so pretty.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, I would really, I mean, a lot of like Southeast Asia just looks so amazing, but I haven't had a chance to go that far away from home yet. How did you decide to teach chemistry over like working in a lab? Are there pros and cons to both kind of career paths?
That is a great question. So I still do. I love working in the lab a lot. That's just, when I think about my experience during my undergrad program, I just enjoy like discover new thing, like all the data collection is fun, but when you analyze the data and see what is going on, that's even like more like fascinating. But the reason why I have to like stop doing because the reagent that I use in polymer, the solvent that dissolve polymer, I use chloroform that is actually cause like harmful like reproductive system. And I was thinking that one day I want to have kids, so I have to just not like I have to find something else that I can do but still involved with chemistry. And also another chemical that I use is tetra hydrofuran that is actually irritates lung. So I have some like breathing problem ish like during that time. Yeah, so I just eventually I have to decide to like stop doing that. And then when I joined OSU program, there's a new, so at the time Professor Chong was like new to the department and he does computation. So I was like, well, maybe I can join computation because I still can learn about the mechanism, like like theoretical way and understand everything like directly. So that's why I decided to join like computation instead. So I don't get to actually do the wet lab during my PhD program. And then because I sit in front of computer all the time, so I did not get to interact with people also. So that's kind of like a drawback. Then I just decide to like, this is not what I want. And I think when I TA at OSU, I get to interact with students and I also can, what do you call like, tell them about chemistry too. So it's just like, I just feel like it's the dream job for me because I get to tell people what I love and also can still like interact with them, you know what I mean? So yeah, so I just decided to teach.
What kind of classes do you teach at LBCC?
At LBCC, I teach college chemistry for non-science majors. So those students who don't have any chemistry background, so I teach those.
Cool. Is that just kind of like an overview of like all the different kinds of chemistry and like, is there any like lab work or?
Yeah, so there are kind of like two like category of that. So one of them is for health occupation. So that is just like a glance of like all the chemistry. So I did not go into like much of a detail, but the other class, which is like college chemistry, we have 3 sequence. And the first one doesn't have lab. The second one and the third one come with the lab. So yeah.
Awesome. Can you please tell me about some challenges you face or have faced in your career so far?
Yeah, so language barrier probably be like my biggest one, as well as the cultural barrier. I think the language barrier come when most of the time it's just like, I want my student to understand me effectively because I'm not a native speaker. So I am aware of that. And I do my best to, like prepare everything so that way, even though they don't understand my accent, they still can like see the lecture note and things like that. So I work a lot to try to eliminate that. And also I have like fear when I speak like in public. So I have to like work a lot to like overcome that fear as well. And like, I feel like I'm getting better and better every day, but like still fear is still fear, right? Like, even though you don't talk about it, it's still there within you. So yeah, so the language barrier is one of the biggest thing for me. And sometimes I want to I want to communicate in something, but sometimes it's just like I can't find the term or the word that I want. So it's kind of like take it a little bit longer to like for that to come across. And for the cultural barrier, it's like sometimes I want to use, let's say like baseball analogy, and no one in Thailand play baseball. So, you know what I mean? So I can't use that analogy. So even though I try to learn it, I still don't understand, you know, like the game and things like that. And sometimes some things that I don't like, I'm not aware of that is like not acceptable here. When I use it in class, I just did not know. For example, when I taught at Polymers University, I talk about entropy or what do you call like the degree of disorder. And what I use the perfume in order to like demonstrate that, like, you know, like perfume when you spray, it's not going to concentrate in one place, but it's going to disperse throughout the whole room. And the spray that I use, I got it from Ross, and it's got the rabbit picture in front of it. Okay, so for me, from my country, this rabbit picture is like a norm because people have like printed t-shirt that they wear, like nobody like actually like know what it is exactly. It's just like foreigner brand back in my country. But as I use this in my lecture, one of the male student in the class like, Ami, is that Playboy perfume? And I was like, oh yeah, it's Playboy perfume, right? So I did not know like any like negative thing about the Playboy. So I was like, yeah, it's a Playboy perfume. And the department chair was sit in the lecture to like evaluate my teaching. And then she like talk about this in the department meeting. It's like, yeah, Omi like brought in like Playboy perfume. So I did not know anything. And then I brought it back to home. And then my husband like, why did you bring this to your class? I was like, I don't know, it's just a perfume. Why? Like, why everyone like keep mentioning about this? And he's like, this is bad. Do you know what is the magazine is about? And I was like, no. So then my husband had to educate me. And I was just, oh my gosh, I went back to school the following day and I had to apologize my whole class and the department. And everyone just laughed so hard. Like they did not, they understand that. But that's one of the many scenarios that I embarrassed myself. Yeah,
I could see how that could be a little bit embarrassing. That's a good story though to tell.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's an example of like cultural barrier for sure that I'm facing in my teaching career.
Oh yeah, what a way to learn that as well. So I know that you've accomplished quite a bit in your career as an educator, and you've put like a lot of time into building student resources. Can you tell me about some of the accomplishments that you're most proud of?
One thing that I'm most proud of is I'm able to reduce financial barrier from the course materials expense for like my chem class, and also you know, like I along with that I also create some lecture manual that is like cheap as well for a student to use along with the lecture. And the reason why I'm so proud of this is because I'm from the family that I know that like I'm not from like a privileged family, so like I understand that students have to work. Like most of students like that come to community college, they have to work. Some of them are parents as well, and you know, like they have to like pay for tuition, they have to pay for textbook, and chemistry textbook sometimes it can be up to like $200. Oh, wow. That's not even like talk about what is it like online homework that come with it as well, right? Or sometimes you might have to buy some lab manual that come with it as well, lab notebook, and you know, it's just like piled up. And calculator, for example, that add into all of those, and it can be up to like $200 to $300 per term or per year. So that's, to me, I just feel like when I created the custom made open, or like the OER textbook, open education resource textbook, that just helps students to use it for free. Mm-hmm. But that's just like online access. If they don't want to use the online access, they can also order to print on demand as well. I think it's cost like $20 or something like that. So it's a lot cheaper.
Yeah, super cheap.
Than like buying like $100 textbook. Yeah, so that's why I'm proud of this the most. Yeah.
That's excellent. I know that's a huge barrier, especially when I was, well, I guess I'm still technically a student for another couple terms, but, like you're getting in there and you're like, oh, sweet. Like this is the cost of tuition. And then it's like, womp womp. Then you have to spend like, another couple $100 on all your textbooks and supplies and stuff like that. So I'm sure people really appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, my grandparents are farmer back in Thailand. So farmer in Thailand, just very poor. Like I never had any toys or anything. When I look back, I just like, I don't know why, like how they even raised me. I remember that I eat rice with fish sauce. That's my meal. And that's it. Like there's nothing else. There's no other nutrition, and I was like, how did I survive until like here? When I look back, it's just like, I'm just very appreciate that everything that they have done, like to support me and like help me to be here and like living in my dream, that's for sure. And so not involved with the what do you call like career accomplishment. I think one thing that I am proud of myself also is that I'm able to like support them back now, like financially as well. So that's just like a big thing that I always wanted. I want to like pay them back in that sense, that they support me with everything, with their everything. So so it's just so that's another thing that I'm proud of as well.
Totally. That's amazing. I'm glad that you have the ability to do that for them. What kind of farmers were they, or are they?
Rice. So during the rice season, they do rice, and then after that they do corn. But they are not like, they did not. I think their education is up to like grade 4, because that's the requirement at that time, like back in my country. But now it's like, I think it's like high school now in Thailand. Yeah. So they always wanted me to have the highest education. So they would do everything, like take up loan to like send me to school, to go to like tutoring school and things like that. Yeah.
Right on. Very cool.
Yeah.
That's very sweet. Thank you for sharing that. Many women might not be aware of careers in STEM fields. And what do you think can be done, through the education systems and our culture at large to spread the word to women about careers in these STEM fields?
Yeah, I think for sure it's probably going to have to be done at like the early learning age, right? So for example, for me, the reason why I start liking science, it's just because I'm watching the channel, like the Discovery Channel and things like that, right? So maybe like in school, like high school or middle school, if we have a lot of like science programs such as like science fair or science project or something that student can get involved, I think that is going to be a really good like I don't know, just like a really good thing for them to spark their interest in this. Yeah. And I think not only that, also like academic advising as well, that probably going to like play a role as well. For example, if students know that they like science, but no one tell them what to do or where to go or how to do it, they're not going to reach to where, like, they will not know, right, what are available out there and things like that. Yeah. So I think I'm very lucky that my high school teacher, they really educate me on like, these are possibility of, like if you want to be involved with science, these are the things that you can do and things like that. So I'm very lucky in that my high school teacher like tell me what are the program available. And also the Thai government really into like science and technology as well. So they pump tons of money like to promote those programs and give like free money for students to be like in those programs as well. So I think that's one of many ways to do it. And also, like what you are doing now, it's a great thing as well for students and for young women to be interested, because they see some people and they will see that, oh, if they can do it, I can do it too. So that's, like that's kind of like a role model. And I think that's what you are advocate as well, right? You advocate role model for the young generation to see and look up for and think that they also can do it as well, if these people can do it.
Yeah, totally. That's an aspect that's really important to me and the organization that I work for, is to really like put faces out there of people that are doing it. So, people can see others just like them and be like, I can do it too. Yeah, I think it's important. So what advice do you have for young women that are looking to follow in a similar career path as you?
Yeah, I don't know if my advice is an advice, but I would just say that nothing is impossible, because it's actually the impossible is actually I am possible, like am possible. Yeah. So I would just say go for it. Like, I'm from the family that I never ever think that I would come this far and live in my dream that I have dreamed. I remember like sitting in the rice field. My mom said that if you don't want to go to school, because like I kind of like rebel at that age, like around 7 or 8 years old. It's like, I didn't want to go to school. I want to be with the water buffalo and with the, like rice paddy and play with mud. I don't want to go to school. And my mom is like, you choose, like go. So my mom asked me to go harvest rice with my grandma. And it's just like a really hot day. And I remember like the work is so hard that I just tell myself that one day I'm not going to work like this. I'm going to work with my brain. And so that's kind of like, like I always think that I want to come to the US, but my family are so poor that I don't think I would be able to, because they would not be able to buy me a plane ticket. They would not be able to support me to get a visa, or like I won't be able to leave here, blah, blah. But here I am. I'm able to do all that I dream. And I never think it was impossible. I just think that it's going to be a hard work for sure. If I'm going to be here, it's have to require me, it's going to like require me everything, right? So I have to sacrifice a lot to reach my dream. So that's I think the advice for me is that it's not going to be easy for whatever you are dream of. It's going to require everything, but it's going to be worth it, because that's what, if that's what you want to do, I think you are going to achieve that by like not just hard work, but also just like what do you call, like inspiration, and also things that you just think about, like things that you dream, and just cling on that dream and then just go for it. Yeah.
So well said. I couldn't agree more.
Thank you.
So what's next for you? Do you have any goals that you'd like to accomplish in the near future, or anything that you're currently working on?
Yeah, so the near future. So again, so the course that I was able to reduce the financial barrier for the course material is just one class. So in the future, I would like to expand that project into like other class that I teach as well. Yeah, and also probably like, so because we have like more research out every day, like every month, every year. So I would like to, like get into some of the research, like the new research finding, and incorporate that into like my teaching in the future as well. So that's kind of like, I don't want it to stop, like, because science not dead, it's alive. So that's what I tell my student as well, like what I'm teaching you now, who knows, 100 years from now, it might not be true, right? Like, I mean, if you think about like in the past, when we talk about like atom, it's just like we don't even know anything about atom or electron. Now it's like we live in the quantum theory that we know like more about structure of atom than we used 200 years ago, and things like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, and I just really appreciate your time and everything you had to say.
Thank you so much for inviting me to be part of your program.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Closing the Gap. If you like this show, subscribe on Spotify. You can also find us on Instagram at MV-STEM-CTE, on Twitter at Mid-Valley STEM, and online at midvalleystem.org. Until next time, keep progressing.